class from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Beresne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Borman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to PSGL once again for a brand new season on a brand new game. We're here today to launch PCF4, and my screen has just gone black. Is it there? Yeah, we're fine. Right, ignore that. Yes, we're back for PCF4, brand new season, season 37. We've got a brand new grid, and don't worry, I won't be here next week. You'll have Myth Guy back. He's off this week. I believe he's on holiday, so don't worry, you won't see my face next week. But you will see Max's face every single week, as he will be one of the commentators here for the F4 season. Max, new season. I think he was in F5 last season, so you're moving up to F4. Are you excited for this brand new season?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, new game means new drivers, and also just overall, it's going to be a nice difference being up here in F4. But yeah, it should be an exciting season ahead. I mean, of course, as I said, new game. It's going to be a new challenge for all these drivers. And drivers who we saw maybe struggle at the end of last year's game could maybe be better on this year's one.
Definitely. You know, we've got a very strong grid here. I don't know half of the names, unfortunately, so you'll have to bear with me on that, and I'll get to know all the names, I'm sure, by the end of the race. But we'll have a quick look at this season. So we haven't got the teams, but we've got their names. So we've got Alexander Dimas, JSD, Ivan Santamaria, Jack Humphreys, Daniel Gottschalk, Linus Donovan, Carlos Torres, Lewis Walker, Justin Ertz, Lucas Baisner. We've got Sammy Simeone, we've got Noah Grosjean, Jay Kennedy, Jeslar, Exafox, Elias Saros, Jans Ferdlich, Liam Bowman, Jeremy Glanier, and Marcel Papston as reserves. We've got Justin Vincent, Kiko, Florian Fanzelter, Thomas Lang, and Sven Schumacher. So I know a few names on the grid there, Max, but I'm sure you know many more of them. Obviously, it's nice to see so many people come here onto PCF4. But for me, there's two standout drivers. So the one being JSD, who I know raced in F3 last season and also is a champion over in WOR. But the other driver I've got my eye on is Liam Bowman, who, of course, is one of the best drivers on the Xbox side.
Yeah, of course, I know. Before moving to PC myself, I was very active on the Xbox side and console side of things. So Liam is certainly someone to look out for. He's very quick, and it will just take him, say, this first season of this game just to adapt to PC life. But he should be at the front from the very beginning. He's very, very quick. And as you said as well, yeah, JSD coming from F3, he's dropped down a division. That's going to maybe motivate him more to try and get back up into, say, the likes of F3 and F2 for next season. So he's going to be pushing to the very edge. But you got other drivers in this team. You got the likes of Alexander Dimas, Lucas Besnaya. They can certainly fight at the front. I was saying with Jeremy Galanaya as well. So there's this whole array of drivers that coming into this season are going to be looking to start off in fine form, but most notably are the two you said with Liam Bowman and JSD to show that they can progress straight up to F3 at the end of this season.
Definitely. And well, we're just about to head into qualifying. 2 seconds to go on the timer. So before we head over trackside, Max, should we have a look at the circuit?
Yeah, I think we in England, of course. It's got 18 corners, 10 to the right and 8 to the left. A total length of 5.891 kilometers or 3.66 miles. 26 laps for the drivers this evening to give us a total race length of 153.166 kilometers. That record held by Max Verstappen in 2020 of a 1 minute 27.097. And of course, the driver with the most wins around this circuit is Sir Lewis Hamilton, of course, has the main straight named after him with 8. Most notably, overtaking opportunities are the likes of Stowe and also from the Hangar Straight, sorry, and then you've also got the likes of Luffield and Brooklands. They're really where you can mount a challenge on the drivers in front, and of course 2 DRS zones around this circuit. It provides brilliant action, does Silverstone, so we should be in for a very, very entertaining Grand Prix to open the season off here, Nathan.
Well, we was going to go into the session, but as we began to load in, we went back to the lobby, and now we have missed one driver, so someone has left, unfortunately. And normally I'd go into the other screen and see who it is, but there's no teams to select the cars from, so I just got to look down the list and find out who's missing. And at the moment, I'm not quite sure who that is, but hopefully we can get our way in very, very shortly towards the brand new race. Of course, if you didn't see the announcement over, I believe there was one on Twitter, but of course in the Discord, we are using the F1 World Cup. There was many complaints from drivers in F2 and F3 saying that the cars weren't equal and they wasn't happy to drive them. So kind of thought, well, to kind of have a solution for this week, we will use the F1 World Cup, of course. As the coming weeks come through, we will update you with what is going to happen regarding whether we use the team cars or the official cars or the F1 World Cars. But I suppose, Max, to some of them, they probably just use a standard one. But it also gives us a chance to see who's creative and can make the best livery.
Yeah, it certainly can, but there's not really much you can do creatively with that default livery, unfortunately. But I mean, different colours can be put on the car. Who's got the best colour matching skills out of the grid? But I think they can also use the ones you got from pre-order as well. So the McLaren, the Williams. I think you can use the Haas is one of them too. So expect to see drivers running those cars as well, especially if they're part of that team this season. So expect a few of those actual livery vehicles. But yeah, it's going to add a whole strategic challenge as well, because you're not going to have a definite teammate. You don't know who's going to be in the same pit box alongside you. So for strategy, you've really got to try and work out who's alongside you in qualifying, because if not, you're going into it blind and you can maybe end up double stacking when you're in a race winning position. So it's going to add a whole different element to the strategy, and something the drivers really need to be wary of.
Of course, and well, it's going to be an interesting one because I think, obviously, going through and towards this new season, many drivers have driven together. Of course, there'll be some that might be new to the game. There might be some that have been in different tiers, and of course, some that have moved over from different platforms. So, going through into this season, this first race gives the drivers a chance to see how the others work, how they battle, how they defend and attack, which means they're going through and towards the next race. They know, what to improve on and how to attack this type of grid, because it is a very varied grid. You've got drivers from all over the world, from many different platforms, and from many different teams. I'm looking through here. We got, just looking at some of the teams, we've got ABS drivers, TF10, NLR, FER, SRC, CRE, we've already mentioned TF10, MVR, Plain Ducks. There's so many different drivers from so many different esports teams taking part. I think we'll see some sort of teamwork, even though they're not meant to. I think we definitely will see some teamworks between those drivers in the different teams. And yes, just to confirm to Medman, yes, Sven is racing today as reserve, because surprisingly, Max, even though it's the only first race of the season, all 5 reserve spots got filled up immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of surprising, but of course, I mean, some drivers may have thought that the season might have been postponed, or they just simply can't make this first round of the season, which, to be honest, isn't the end of the world of them just yet. If they miss the next round and they miss this round, then they might start to be a little bit out of that championship battle. But yeah, kind of surprising that all 5 were used so early into the season, but hopefully as the season progresses, as we get more into a rhythm of things, those spots kind of dwindle and go down to 2 or 3 reserves a race. So yeah, we'll see how that progresses throughout the season. But still, these reserves, they've got a lot to prove as well. They've got to show
Yeah.
that even with these one-off opportunities, they can fight at the front. And they're certainly going to be giving it their all because they're not really going to be in the fight for the championship. So every
Yeah.
race for them matters for next season, or maybe maybe even if a drive becomes available later on this season.
Of course, because I think we're seeing it in every single tier, in every single season. People do drop out from full-time seats due to many different things, so the reserves need to show that they can be, that someone that can be reliable to go in towards a main seat for the remainder of the season, whether that's at the start of the season or near the end of the season. But I believe now we are heading in towards the session. We've got 19 in. We are having the timer tick down. So after 11 minutes of waiting, we are going to head through in towards the lobby. So we'll quickly put ourselves over to the race new audio system this season on OBS. So, please, if someone in the chat can let me know if the audio is fine. It should be, but yes, I just want to make sure it is working fully and that the cars aren't too loud nor too quiet. But Max, going through and towards this session, if you was driving there, would you like it to be wet or dry on the track?
Well, myself, I am personally a wet weather merchant, so I would like it to be intermediate conditions, not full wet, but intermediates. But
Yeah.
I would say the drivers, they would just want it to be dry. They want the best track conditions possible. That they just want to get this first race out the way, then the weather can sort of start to play effect. But we'll wait and see. We don't know what the British weather can do, and it's going to be a dry qualifying. So for everyone who's quick in the dry, which is most of these drivers, they're going to be happy about that one. But yeah, the intermediates, that can really favour maybe some of the not so quick drivers in this tier, the ones that are sort of mid to back of the pack, because that's really where it can make a difference, where you've got to be smooth, you've got to be precise in those wet weather conditions. So yeah, dry in this qualifying session, but still, we've got to wait and see for the race and what happens in that too.
Of course, we do have a couple of cars now heading out on towards the circuit. We'll see who the first driver will be. And I can't see who it is yet because they're not on an outlap, so I can't switch to them. But we'll see shortly who goes out first onto track. Once I take a long trip out the pits, because of course it is a very long pit lane here. It's a very, very long one, a very slow speed. I mean, it does take, if you have an incident at the start of the race, you really do get harmed when you have to make that pit stop. And also, when you come towards strategy, undercuts and overcuts matter a lot more when you've got a longer time spent in the pits. But we have our first car race on track for the new season. It will be Elias Saros. We'll see what he can do. Now, I don't know what team drivers are racing for, because they're not in their team cars. But next week, you will see them in their Red Bulls or Mercs or McLarens or whatever team they drive in. But for now, they're just in their own cars. And I believe Elias is in one of the F124 default liveries or one of the pre-order liveries. I can't remember which one. But Max, we can see now a few more people heading out on towards the circuit. If you've got into qualifying, because I know you drive a lot, Max, what would you say are the key points? What key corners do you think you need to really nail to get a good lap time around here?
For Silverstone, of course, you need to master Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. They are some key corners. They can really break your lap because you're near the end of it. But at the start, you've really got to master the likes of the loop. You've really got to get a good exit out of there down the Wellington Straight. So mainly more of the slower corners, so the loop, I think it's Village as well. Those really are some corners you did get right. Luffield is also very crucial because you've got that long run all the way through Cops and then into Maggots and Beckett. So there's a lot of corners actually around here you need to nail more than some other circuits. And overall, this first lap is just crucial to find where you can push that car and also how the track and the car setup are feeling together. So for Saros, as he's starting his lap now, heading through Abbey and heading in to Village, going to be late on the brakes, down to third gear as he then heads out into the loop. A bit of a tighter angled corner there, might not give him the best exit that he possibly would want, as we now enter the Wellington Straight. DRS open for Saros as he now is about to cross the Sector 1 split and head into Brooklands and down to fourth gear for Saros as he then keeps it tight to the right-hand side for Luffield, taking a wider line to then get a good run out as you head down the national pitch straight and into Woodcote. Through Woodcote he goes, of course, flat out through there, and then you head up into Copse Corner, the fastest corner on the circuit, down to 7th gear, little lift, and then straight back on the power. And now heading into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. It's a quick flick left, then into a right, down to 7th gear. You're then constantly reducing your speed as you head through this section of corners. DRS open on the exit of Chapel, and now down the hanger straight up into Stowe Corner. What's this going to be for Saros as he's entered this final sector? Going to be braking just after the 50-metre ball, getting the car turned in 6th gear, use all the curb on the exit of the corner, into the Vale, braking as you then clip that first curb, then through the second curb, you just give it a light skim, use all the track on the exit, through Club Corner, and for Saros for the first lap time of the season, so 1 minute 25.956. Let's see how that holds up against the rest of the field.
We'll see what the next drivers can do. The next driver to head up to the line will be Daniel Gottschalk. Goes up to the top there with a 25.575. And now we've got the game of trying to find who's at the end of a lap. We can see here Exafox now heading to the line. He goes up into third with a 1 minute 26.007. We've got Sven Schumacher now to the line. He goes up into second there just behind Daniel Gottschalk with a 25.590. As we'll go on board here with Lucas Basner as No Grosjean goes to the top with a 25.478. As we still see a few more cars left to come through. Jack Humphries now to the top of the timings with a 25.445. Alexander Dimas takes that time down by 0.2 of a second with a 0.28. What can Lucas Basner do now as he heads his way up towards the line as Thomas Lang went into P10. Lucas Basner goes up into P6. A few more cars left to come through. I think Linus Donovan will go up to the line. He does go up into second place now ahead of Jack Humphries as we've still got a few more cars left to come through. We've got Dustin Vincent now stopping, heading out of the loop, so he didn't complete his lap time. And we've got a few more cars left to come through, but I think that might be, well, as Jeremy goes to the top now with a 0.119, I think that, Max, might be the most of those first runs.
Yeah, that seems to be it for those first runs of the session. Of course, Jans Verdelik is on an outlap, and Liam Bowman staying in the pit lane for that first lap. I think Kiiko's on a lap down in 17th place. Dustin Vincent, of course, not able to set a lap in his first part of qualifying. I think he invalidated his one. DRS open now for Kiiko as he now heads up into Stowe. He's got a bit of traffic, but this will give him a nice slipstream up into Stowe Corner, up the hill, then late on the brakes to 6th gear. A little bit of understeer through this dirty air, so that's going to hinder his run down into the Vale chicane. Once again, braking as the curb starts, down to 3rd gear, a big slide from the car as he heads through the middle of Vale. That's going to ruin your whole lap, and across the line he goes up into 12th place, so 1 minute 25.9, just over a second separating that top 16. But still, plenty of time on the cars, because of course those were only banker laps, and drivers still finding their feet in this session so far, Nathan.
Definitely. I think here Jans Verlik might be on a lap. He's just heading through in towards Maggots and Beckett's at the moment, and then, of course, into Chapel. We'll see what he can do in his car. It'll be a 102.4, so I'm not quite sure if he's on a lap or not, but we'll see when he comes through out of Stowe, whether he goes into the pits or whether he goes down towards the final chicane. But, of course, so far it is Jeremy Glanier on pole with a 125.119, with Alexander Dimas in second, and then Linus Donovan rounding out the top three, as we can see Jans Verdik round out the lap. What will it be here for the ABS driver? Goes up into 13th there with a 125.921. So a decent start to the season. Decent start to his first lap here for Jans Verdik. But of course, many more laps to go here in this qualifying. You'll probably get another 2 or maybe 3 if you're lucky. And then, of course, a long, I think, 27-ish laps to take to the race. So, of course, if you make a bit of a mistake in qualifying, it definitely is not over there, because, of course, the points are in the race. Along with this season, you get a point for pole position. So if Jeremy keeps pole, he will have 1 point added to his tally. So he will be, well, whoever's on pole will be the championship leader going through in towards round number 1. As now, we can see yet again, Max, Elias Saros on a lap. Well, on an 8 lap.
Yeah, seeming to go for the earlier runs here as Saros, and maybe that could play dividends, having, of course, good track position, but he's also got to make sure he's not caught out by traffic at this stage in qualifying, at least with drivers just separating their runs ever so slightly and going out at different times. So he's got to make sure that he gets to that first corner and no one is coming out of the pit lane. But Saros, he's down in 14th place at the moment at 25.956, last of the drivers in the 25, so he needs to find a better time over the course of these next 2 runs. Of course, warming up those tyres very aggressively. He is now heading down the Hanger Straight, but this is not so crucial of a lap, but he still needs to get it on the board, get as high up as possible, because that final lap, lots of pressure. It's a make or break, and very easy to invalidate, especially at a circuit like Silverstone. And Nathan, this is surely going to be a lap that he's aiming for at least a top 10 here, or it's going to be very, very nervous and tense heading into that final run of qualifying.
Definitely, and you know, Saros, he's been in the scene quite a long time. He was back, well, when I was managing back in 2022, he was one of the drivers, I think it was in SR, which is an old team, and he was very quick there. He was always around the F3, F4 pace, but he's never really been consistent in the terms of being in league racing and being in team events. He kind of drops off a bit, and then he'll come back for a little bit, and then drop off again. So you don't really see him that much racing here in leagues, but we'll see what Saros can do starting out a new season here in PSGL. He's up at the moment in his first sector there with a 27.2, I think it was, as he heads his way now in towards Luffield and then in towards Woodcut. But of course, I expect Saros to be one of those who can definitely fight for some top points positions. I don't know about the win, because I think we've got many drivers in here that have had a little bit more experience when it comes towards those racing conditions that will definitely be able to strive in some of the tense moments of a Grand Prix. But we'll see what Elias can do as he heads his way now through the middle setup, through Maggots and Beggarts, and then in towards Chapel Curve at turn number 14. He'll get back on the power now as he heads his way down the Hanger Straight in towards Stowe, up by half a tenth. So that would put him just around P12. It just put him just past the time of Kiko. So we'll see here what can Saros do. Heading down now towards the Valen Club corner, the final 2 corners on the circuit, heads his way in, back on the power nice and early. Will it be a top 5 or a top 10 here for Elias Saros? No, doesn't improve enough to make to improve position. He did improve, but no position gained here for Saros.
No, unfortunate there for Saros, and there's a spin there at Luffield. That's for Liam Bowman, unfortunately, with a spin on the exit of the hairpin. I think that was Linus Donovan, sorry, going up into third. No, that he's actually just started a lap. Someone did higher up the order. It was actually Schumacher up into 6th place with a 25.487. And that's Ivan Santamaria up into 3rd place. Brilliant lap there from Santamaria to put himself into that top 3. Super close from Santamaria all the way down to about Daniel Gottschalk. There, just over a tenth of a second separating 3rd to 9th. And who else is coming to the line? Alexander Dimas, he crossed the line, didn't improve position. Galanaya is starting his run. We've got Jay Kennedy now entering into the final chicane, only up by 16 milliseconds, so not up by much. This won't actually progress him further up the order if he stays like this, but now heading for a club. Where's it going to put him? Up into P5, just under a tenth found there in the end of the lap, and puts him 2 thousandths off Linus Donovan. So Joe Kennedy there puts himself right into the thick of things. That's Daniel Gottschalk up into 7th place there. He found a bit of time as well, promotes him ahead of Grosjean. Linus Donovan moves himself up into 3rd place, displacing Ivan Santamaria there for that top 3 position. Galanaya, though, still on his lap. He's on provisional pole at the moment. Can he see the first driver into the 24s, using all the track he possibly can through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel? He is right on the limit. He's actually down through that middle sector, 13 milliseconds down on his previous time, as he's now heading into Stowe Corner. Is he going to complete this one, or is he going to pull into the pit lane? He's still going to go for it as he now enters the fail chicane. Late on the brakes, down to 3rd gear, gets it through the chicane quite nicely, then get a good exit out of the corner, clips a lot of the curb on the inside there at Club. Didn't find enough time on the lap, actually lost some in the final sector, but Galanaya still is on provisional pole position. So even with not improving on that lap, it shows that he is still in a comfortable position at the moment, just a 10th ahead of Alexander Dimas.
Of course.
After his first run still.
Yep, as we can see, Marcel Pabst there go up into P3 as Exafox goes up into P5. So many improvements being made on circuit. Lionel Donovan, of course, in P4, just behind Marcel and Exafox. Of course, those two making big improvements on their previous runs, which shows if you're a little bit further down in qualifying, it definitely is possible for you to try and fight for that top 10 or even the top 5 once more. We'll see what Jan Sverlik can do. He's currently down by over a second, so his first set to not go into plan. Still down in P16 on his lap time. We'll see what that time was. It was a 125.712. So a lot of time needs to be found here by Jan Sverlik. Of course, further back, Saros still not able to get a good lap down on his belt. He's currently on a 25.9, nearly a second off from the pole position time. But Elias Saros now heads back onto circuit quite early compared to the others. I believe this will be his final run in qualifying. So taking it earlier, getting out of the traffic of the others, and just playing it a little bit more out of sync. So we'll see what he can do on this final. And of course, guys, let me know in the chat if the sound is fine. It should be, but of course I've had to change the audio a little bit for the game here and there. So please let me know if everything does sound okay. We've got Lucas Baisner on a lap. He's heading down towards turn 3. I think he might be on a lap here, Max.
Yeah, I think I did see that he was warming up for a lap heading out of Chapel. So he's now heads down the Wellington straight. What's it going to be in the first sector? Up or down? He's up by 31 milliseconds. He is certainly within a fight of getting into that top 3 at the moment. Look at that, 3 tenths separating Marcel all the way to Lucas Besnay as he now enters Woodcote and down that national pitch straight. Of course, British Touring Car Championship used that pitch straight because they used the shorter configuration of the Silverstone circuit. Then through the right hander there of Cops, nicely done there from Besnaya, using all the track he possibly can, as now he enters Maggots, then into Beckett's, and then finally Chapel, and he gets it down to 6th gear. A bit too much curb use though, and it's forced him wide, and he's invalidated his lap. He was down on that lap though by 1.5 in the end, but unfortunately there for Besnaya, used too much curb there through Chapel, and it ended up paying the price, running wide and invalidating, so he stays 13th, but still, look how close that is between 3rd and 13th place. 10 cars separated by just under 0.3 of a second.
Yep, we got a very, very close grid hit in qualifying at the moment, which means when we're going towards the race, when you've got a grid that is so close, it really does provide some brilliant action on track, because we know that the drivers all have got the skills to fight hard and to be on the pace of each other now, as we can see a few more cars head their way around to complete their next runs. We've got No Grosjean here, currently in 10th position on a 125.4, about 0.3 off of the pole time. We'll see what he can do now as he heads his way round out of the final corner and up towards the line. What will it be here for No Grosjean? Goes up into second, a brilliant lap there to kick off his session. A 125.196 puts him there just 70 thousandths back from Jeremy in first place. We can see further back here we've got Irvin Santamaria, currently up by 1.5 in his first sector. He's down in P7. Of course, lots of time can be found in the second and third sector, so he could also be on for a possible run for pole position or provisional pole position as he heads his way now out of Cops down towards Maggots and Beckett's, where he will complete this, I believe he's on his 3rd lap of the session. There's Jack Humphries, goes up to 4th there with a 25.355 here. Max, we'll see what can Ivan do, because he's actually lost time in the second sector, now only up by just under 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do in this final sector. It does seem that we've got more overcast here, so the tyres should be able to hold on for longer around this Silverstone circuit. Of course, the temperatures won't be as high. Tyres won't overheat as much, but he's used too much curb there. Through the Vale chicane, launches the car off the sausage curb, and that's Ivan Santamaria's session done. He finishes in 9th place at the very best. Schumacher moves himself up into 4th place at 25.310. Pressure is being applied here, though, to Jeremy Gallinaya. He's just started his final flying lap. Who's going to be coming up to the line? Next one across the line is Van Seltzer. He's actually started his lap. Liam Bowman, where is he's heading through the Vale chicane. What can he do? Of course, his first race on PC from the console, and it's only a 25.799 for Liam Bowman, so he will start from the back of the field. It started raining, Nathan. The rain has started to come down here in Silverstone.
Well, that now explains to me why the drivers went out so early at the start of the session, and also going out so early for their final runs, and also why Liam Bowman's now last on a 25.7. Most drivers having a retirement here. of course, all retiring on track because they know that the track will not be any better and they can't find any improvement on their lap, and that has definitely harmed Alexander Dimas because he was looking to be in a very strong position. Of course, with Jeremy and Grosjean done with their times, he's got to look to try and go for pole position, but can't do that at all, being as the rain has now fell onto the circuit, which makes me believe now I think this might be the final grid order for this qualifying session. We'll go on board here with Jan Sverdlik. We'll see, can he try and find any sort of improvement as he heads his way round in towards Cops. You can see there the cars now really struggling as they head their way through some of these high-speed corners, some of these high-speed zones, and we have, of course, got the checkered flag, which means you can't start a new run either way. And Jan, can he find time? I don't think he can. No, he'll be seconds down as he heads out of Chapel. So that, I think, is it, Max. It'll be Jeremy Glanio and pole ahead of No Grosjean and Alexander Dimas in the top 3.
Yeah, really nicely done there from Galanaya for his first lap of the session to be pole position. Grosjean as well there. Got it in late. Pressure was on, and he managed to move himself up into second place. But yeah, really unfortunate for some of the drivers there, especially like to Dimas and Jan Sverdlik, who went out hoping the rain would stay off for a little bit longer, but unfortunately got caught up in that rain. And one thing I've noticed from this game is that once it starts raining, there's a lot more of a fall off within times, because usually you could get away with one or a few corners off from the checkered flag with the rain, but now on this game, as soon as it starts raining, you lose complete time. So that's one thing I've noticed, and one thing that's I'd say is a good addition to this game. But for Jeremy Galanaya, that is a really, really strong start. And he is your championship leader heading into round 1.
Indeed, 1 point added to Jeremy's championship. Of course, you do get a point for pole position. And we can now see the final classification of qualifying. So we can see Jeremy Glanio on pole ahead of No Grosjean in second, Alexander Dimas in third, ahead of Sven Schumacher, Jack Humphries, Marcel Pabst, Linus Donovan, Exavox, Ivan Santamaria, and Jay Kennedy is the top 10. Then we have Daniel Gottschalk, Kiko, Lucas Baisner, Thomas Lang, Elias Saros, Dustin Vincent, Florian van Zelter, Jan Sverdlik, and Liam Bowman, rounding out the top 19. And I've got to say there, the biggest surprise is Liam Bowman, down in P19, 7/10 off the pace. Of course, I believe he started his lap when the rain was starting to fall on the circuit, but still, not a good way he wants to start his PC campaign. And the good thing, I think, here, Max, is there was no grid penalties, which means no restart.
Yeah, no grid penalties, no restarts. We're going to be smooth sailing straight into the race. And yeah, for Liam Bowman, it really seemed like he struggled in that session, especially on those second. I mean, he only did 2 runs in that session anyway, so he was 1 run down compared to everyone else. And on that second run, unfortunately, he had that spin at Luffield. And then on the final run, the rain started to come down on the circuit, so he got no luck at all. So he's someone to look out for to make his way up from the back. But now we look at strategy. What is the chosen strategy here at Silverstone? Of course, tyre wear's not too high around here, so we can maybe see drivers go for a medium soft or a soft medium, but most of them will probably go for a hard medium or medium hard strategy. So those are probably what we're going to be looking for here this evening. See a few drivers already going on to the hards, but Nathan, who's your pick for the race victory here?
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to go with Dimas. I think he's got a lot of experience under his belt, and I think he's probably one of the quickest drivers on the grid. So that'll be my pick for the race win. And of course, guys, let us know in the chat who you think will get the race win. As we now can see the lights on our screens, we've got 3, 4, and 5 lights here in Silverstone for the first race of F124 here at PSGL PCF4, and it is lights out. And I think we've got an issue because Jan Sverdlik's at the front. We've got an issue, I think. I think we might have to have a restart here.
Saros is ghosting as well. So. Oh yeah, a lot of ghosting.
Yeah, I think we might be in order for a restart here, guys. Unfortunately, Jan Sverdlik. Not unfortunately. That makes it sound bad. Yes, Jan was dead at the bottom, and he's now in first, but he's currently at the back of the grid. So I think we'll just have a little on the action here. But I'm sure there should be. It's fixed itself. There we are. So. Well, we had a decent start, didn't we? As Donovan's now at the back of the field. Oh, that could not have gone any more unplanned than it did, could it, Max?
No, that could not go any more F4, I feel like, that race start. But Sverdlik, he had his time at the front. That could be the only time he sees the front so far in this Grand Prix, but he's down in 14th place at the moment. And so far, all seems well within the field, except from Linus Donovan, who had that spin at the exit of Brooklyn's corner. But Jeremy Gallinaya able to keep his lead there off the race start, so nicely done there from I want to say he's in the Alpine, knowing that he's running the Alpine livery. So I'm going to call him the Alpine driver for now. Grosjean just behind him, sitting in second place. Of course, DRS will be enabled, of course, newly for this game at the end of this first lap. So we're going to see more racing action straight away. There we go, across the line. DRS is now enabled. Jan Sverdlik, Kiko going, looked like they were going to go side by side with the gaps that were showing, but unfortunately not. And it says that now Jan Sverdlik's a minute and a half behind Kiko, so I still think there's a bit of a desync issue within this lobby.
It seems so, or it could also be an issue that unfortunately only the commentators get to see, which is definitely not ideal at all. As we can see there, Jay Kennedy fighting with Exafox to P9 in the field. We'll have a quick look at tyres as well. That's one thing we didn't look at when we was trying to figure out what was going on. So, majority of the field are on a set of the softs, a few going for a set of the medium tyres to take those to the end of this first stint. Of course, we can still see at the front it's Glanier that leads ahead of Grosjean in second place. A French 1-2 so far as they head through Copse Corner now and down in towards Maggots and Beckett's. We can see Schumacher in third, currently just ahead of Jack Humphries, and Lucas Bassner already with a penalty for multiple warnings, so 3 seconds gets added onto his lap time. Liam Bowman already up to P16, now looking to try and find a way past Florian Van Zelter for P15 as Grosjean does take lead ahead of Glanier as they head in towards Stowe Corner now. So Grosjean leads, and further back we can see Thomas Lang ahead of Exafox. So the medium tyres, surprisingly, are sticking out quite well here, aren't they, Max?
Yeah, they certainly are. As Dustin Vincent looked to the inside there of Exafox, and I think that was Ivan Santamaria getting passed by Gottschalk there. So now Ivan looking to try and regain that position on Daniel, but just can't get it done as we now head into a Village through Farm Curve and then into Village Corner, and there we go, everyone just sitting behind each other, probably just waiting for this DRS straight. Of course, we probably are going to see a lot of DRS trains, especially around a circuit like Silverstone. So high speed, so easy to follow, especially with the slipstream on this game. Jeremy Gallinaya getting closer to Grosjean as we now head in to Luffield Corner, as Dustin Vincent does get the move done on Exafox. They're going to go side by side through Luffield Corner. Here's Dustin Vincent round the outside, and Exafox can't compete with those soft tyres on exit, and the TF10 driver of Dustin moves himself up into 11th place, and he's now behind Thomas Lang, looking at the 10th place in front of him. But Exafox on those medium tyres, they've not worked out too well for him. He's dropped down 4 places so far, but he's the biggest loser of the medium tyres. Everybody else, though, sort of keep in position, and Gallinaya has got past Grosjean once again as they head into Stowe Corner.
And the top two, I believe, will change probably lap after lap because of the DRS being so strong around this circuit, and of course being so beneficial on this game in general. So we'll see what the top two can get up to. As we can see further back, Thomas Lang yet again on the rear of Jay Kennedy. These two have been close many times so far on these opening 3.5 laps of the race. So we'll see what those two can get up to as well. Further back we can see Kiko in 13th as well. He's been fighting out with Jan Sverdlik, but of course a soft tyre advantage means he can try and flurry away. And further back as well, Liam Bowman looking to battle still with Florian Van Zelter for P15, but definitely not the start I expected here from Liam Bowman, as now he's under pressure from Lucas Bassner in towards Brooklyn's corners. To the outside goes Bassner, can't quite hang it around the outside though as they head in towards Luffield Corner. So still Bowman in that 16th position, but definitely an improvement, been as he started from the back. And I'm not sure, Max, what happened to Donovan, but he must have got caught up, I believe, at the race start somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah, he got caught up at the exit of Brooklyn, so maybe a little bit of contact between side pod and front wheel could have maybe sent him round, or maybe just a tap from the back. So it was really unfortunate there for Donovan. Don't know exactly what happened to him, but so far he's showed some decent pace on those mediums. I mean, he's 2.4 seconds. He's slowly finding time on Saros, but unfortunately with the DRS that Saros has, he's going to keep losing it through the likes of the Wellington and Hangar Straight. So he's somewhat in an uphill battle at the moment, but still, safety cars can happen. He can come straight back into this one. Being on the alternate strategy as well, be quicker at the end of the Grand Prix on those softs. So we're just going to have to wait and see what can happen for him down in 19th place. But still, not to give up yet. There's still a long, long race to go. So we're only on lap 5 of 26. Dimas looking to put Humphreys under some pressure here for 4th place on the road. DRS will be open as Verdlick versus Van Selter. That's over 14th place, and Van Selter was able to get past the of Jans. Jans Verdlick there in 14th place. He promotes himself up a place. Dimas was not able to get close enough to Humphreys as Bowman is now attacking Sverdlik there. This is over 15th place. Rounding outside goes Liam Bowman. Soft versus mediums. Using the battery is Liam Bowman on corner exit. Is he going to be able to get this one done? Sverdlik on the inside just backs out of that one. Knows going through cops side by side is too risky. And Liam Bowman promotes himself up into 15th. Really struggling at the moment is the MVR driver of Liam Bowman, but still, in the F1 World Cars, they handle a little bit differently to equal cars, so that could be a factor to why he is struggling so much. I know they generate a bit more understeer than the normal cars he is, and here comes Jans Verdlick to the inside once again into Stowe, and he gets the place back from Liam Bowman, so these two could be in a little bit of a ding-dong all race long.
They definitely could be, and of course you've got to remember here now, of course, with Sverdlik being on the mediums and looking to now apply more pressure on Bowman. We saw Dimas on the back of Humphreys. It does kind of suggest that possibly the soft tyres could be starting to hit their drop-off stage now and could start to be a little bit more of a disadvantage compared to those on the medium tyres. Of course, we can see Dimas yet again just trailing on the back here of Jack Humphreys for P4. The gap coming down 3.5 tenths of a second, 2.5 tenths of a second now as they head their way down towards Brooklands corner. So we'll see probably now by lap 8 or 9, I expect to see a few of the medium runners making some moves and getting themselves a few positions higher. Of course, we can see further back as well. Exavox in P12 is on the rear of Dustin Vincent, who's in 11th place. Those two also will come to battle, I'm sure, over these next couple of laps. And yet again at the front, they're all just staying where they are. The top 5 haven't really changed since lap 1. Of course, Glanier leads Grosjean, Schumacher and Humphreys in the top 4. All of those are on the softs. And then, of course, Dimas and Pabst there taking the mediums for their endeavour on the first stint. So we'll see what sort of advantage those two can get, being in 5th and 6th at this point. But now we can see Dimas looking to gain in here to make a move for 4th place. To the inside he goes, and 2 ahead of Jack Humphreys. He goes up into P4. Dimas ahead of Humphreys, ahead of Marcel Pabst.
Yeah, really nicely done there from Dimas. We can maybe see now those medium tyres start to make a bit of an impact over those soft compounded tyres. Of course, not as much as we'll see in about 2 or 3 laps time, but at this stage in the Grand Prix, those mediums will be looking a little bit better than those soft compounded tyres. So look for Dimas to maybe get up into 3rd place over Sven Schumacher over, I would say, the end of this lap into Stowe Corner once again. But up the front, Galanai has kept his lead for quite a few laps now over Grosjean. It seems that Grosjean's just decided to focus on the rhythm behind. I say that, and Schumacher's all the way on the attack. He's applying so much pressure. He's looked to the outside line, but unfortunately not able to get by. Maybe going to look to the outside again for Luffield, or even try find a gap to the inside. But Grosjean keeps it tight, he keeps it steady, and just parks his car in the middle of the road. So nicely done there from Grosjean, able to hold on to his P2, defended that very nicely, but still has that run up to Stowe Corner to look out for as well. Of course, new to this game are the battery modes as well, so that's going to be another thing in this race. Which drivers look after their batteries the best? Of course, you can flick it into medium or none, and we can see what they can do. DRS open now for Sven Schumacher, but also for Grosjean as well. Here comes Schumacher though. He's looking for the move. Is he going to pull to the outside? No, he's going to look to the inside. We're going 3 wide into Stowe. Both Schumacher and Grosjean back out of that one. That could have been an airplane crash for Schumacher if he just committed to that inside line. But luckily for both him and Grosjean, they backed out of that one. They were thinking about the long game. As Papist, something has happened to him. So he's now falling down the order. Stuck in 8th gear. Don't know if he's got any damage off somewhere.
Yep, he's pulled off to the side of the circuit. So I think he might have got a wheel issue, because you can see him there go left to right. So that might be Pabst done here for this race. A big shame for Marcel Paps, who was of course in P6 earlier on. He's now done and dusted, I think, here, unless there's some sort of safety car and he can fix whichever issue he had. As now we can see yet again the leaders fighting down towards Brooklyn's corner, of course. Dimas now looking to gain in. He's in P4 at the moment, as we can see Kennedy ahead of Santa Maria in towards turn number 7 at Brooklands. And Jay Kennedy doing a very good job at the start of this race. Started P10, now up into P7, but the issue he has is that those in the top 6 are outside of a second, which means he won't get any DRS down the DRS permitted zones, which could of course lose him a lot of time to the train behind and definitely put him under pressure from the likes of Vincent, Exafox and Ivan Santamaria, who was sitting 8th, 9th and 10th. But keeping my eyes yet again on the back of Alexander Dimas, yet again able to get on the power so much earlier than those ahead of him. But of course the DRS, Max, if you're in 4th, you get no advantage whatsoever because everyone's got the same advantage as Grosjean takes the lead.
Yeah, you don't really get too much of an advantage. All you get is slipstream down those straights, but that don't even do much in the long run. So that was Grosjean taking the lead. Fanselter managed to get past Kiko there, and Exavox to the inside of Dustin Vincent. That's those medium tyres starting to come into play there for Exavox. Into the pits comes Liam Bowman off that soft compounder tyre, same with Lucas Besnaya as well. But Exavox up into 9th place. We're going to see him start to come through the field get closer by the end of his stint. But with Grosjean there, he sort of needed to make that move. The pressure that Sven Schumacher was applying on him over the past few laps, and now Jeremy Galanaya has to deal with that pressure from Schumacher behind, at least for this lap around. But Dimas, he's certainly going to be looking to make some moves before the soft tyre pit window comes into play. We might have seen the start of it with Bowman and Besnaya. It's just about when the top 2 runners come into the pit lane. We have Lang, Sverdlik and Kiko all battling out for that one. It was Lang who came out on top, with Sverdlik just behind him in 13th place. So for Thomas Lang, he is just holding on to P12 for now. Runs a bit wide through Cobbs. That'll probably be a track limit warning for him. And he's unfortunately dropped out of DRS from Fanselter as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the pit lane come the end of this lap. Undercut could be very powerful round here, especially due to how many slow speed corners there are. So expect the likes of Liam Bowman and Lucas Besnaya to promote themselves higher up the order as Ivan Santamaria gets past Jay Kennedy into Stowe corner. Nicely done. And Jay is trying to fight back, but Ivan into the pit lane. Same with Grosjean as well. Schumacher into Humphreys. Who else is coming into the pit lane? They all file into one another. Dustin Vincent is in. There is also going to be Thomas Lang, and that is going to be it for the pit stoppers so far. Let's see where the likes of Schumacher and Grosjean come out in the terms of Liam Bowman. So Liam is heading into the Val chicane. So Grosjean and Schumacher will come out very, very far in front of those. The main driver that Bowman is going to be fighting is Dustin Vincent. As you see, Bowman in the background. Exafox, though, getting the move done on Jay Kennedy. He moves up into 4th place. Those medium tyres working better than the softs for Jay. And maybe see Dimas as well make a move on Galanaya as we now head up into Copse Corner on lap 10 of 26. Galanaya is still yet to make a stop, so is Dimas, but both of them on different strategies. And it's Dimas who will have the upper hand come the end of the Grand Prix on those soft compound tyres.
Definitely, and the likes of Exafox as well, Sverlik and Fanselter. I'm very keen to see what they can do, of course, on a softer compound of tyre. As we can see now, further behind, of course, it's no Grosjean with the provisional lead ahead of Sven Schumacher. Those two there just trying to get Schumacher's back within a second now of Grosjean, so he'll be looking to try and use that DRS. We can see Jack Humphries as well, just trying to cling on to that 1 second gap, and then of course a big gap back to Ivan Santamaria as Jeremy's into the pits along with Daniel Gottschalk as well. I think Jay Kennedy also into the pits off of their sets of soft tyres, and we'll see. Does Saros pit? Yes, they do. So no more soft runners left on the circuit. All of them obviously making their pit stops now for a new set of tyres. So it'll be Dimas who leads ahead of Exavox, ahead of Fanselter and Jan Sverlik. And then, of course, Donovan further back. But, of course, he had that incident on the first lap. So, of course, you can see there now, Grosjean will come through the first corner, should be easily clear of those in the pits, and we'll see whereabouts those guys can fall in as Galanier comes out just behind Grosjean and just ahead of Schumacher. So, to be fair, Max, the overcut / undercut there didn't really make much of a difference at all, did it?
No, not really. This is where we're going to see it really start to play effect. Of course, Schumacher with the warmer tyres, and you've got Galanaya with the colder tyres heading out of the loop. But Galanaya actually had more battery there to play with. Schumacher was actually deracing it, less than 10% left in the car, so he's not really managed his battery well. I think trying to keep the Grosjean over the course of that outlap. We'll wait for the medium tyre runners of Dimas, Exafox, Van Selters, Furlick, Donovan and Paps to come into the pit lane. That will probably be around about lap 15, 16 when they decide to pop into the pits. But Galanaya now all over the back of Grosjean, taking a lot of curb through Maggots, as we now see on the exit of Chapel. DRS open for Galanaya. He's going to use that to his advantage, use a bit of battery as well to move himself in front of Grosjean. A nice DRS overtake there for Galanaya to move himself back up into provisional P1. Liam Bowman versus Thomas Lang. That's another DRS move there from Liam Bowman to promote himself up to 14th place. Seems to have better luck on these medium compounder tyres. But unfortunately, in all of that, Daniel Gottschalk, has unfortunately dropped out of DRS from Jack Humphrey. So he was in that battle for the race lead before the pit stops. He's now 2.6 seconds behind. So really, really unlucky in the whole pit stop window there for Daniel to drop off the back of that leading quartet.
Of course, yeah, a big shame indeed for Daniel Gottschalk, who definitely would have been fighting to the end with the leading pack. But our race leader is, of course, Jeremy Glanier in first ahead of No Grosjean, then Sven Schumacher in third, and Jack Humphries now looking stronger than ever in fourth position. Of course, at the start of this brand new stint, he was just about able to keep within a second, but now comfortably within half a second of those fighting for the win. So we could even see Jack Humphries here try and take a win tonight around the Silverstone circuit. Of course, at the front, we've still got 6 people yet to pit. Of course, Marcel Paps was in the top 6 around where Santa Maria was, but he had an issue and unfortunately dropped back to the rear of the field. I think it's about lap 6 or lap 7, he dropped back to the rear. And we can see, of course, Donovan as well, of course, coming under some issues earlier on in the race on the first couple of laps. He dropped down to the back. And, of course, Furlick, Fans Delta, Exafox and Dimas haven't really gained or lost any time since the start of the race. As we can see, Santa Maria now, of course, getting past Gottschalk, and Jay Kennedy looking to get involved as well. He's in 13th at the moment, would put him to a net P6, of course, when all those guys at the front make their pit stops, but of course they still yet to do so. So Max, when do you reckon that those on the mediums will looking to pit?
As Fanselter gets past Exafox there, that's crucial for their medium pit stop battle. But I would say around about lap 16, from lap 15 to probably around about lap 17, 18 is when they really want to come in and maximise those soft compound tyres. Any later, they'll just risk losing too much time and not having enough laps to bring that back down. So the pit window really is lap 15 to latest lap 18. But we've got to really see how much they push that tyre and how early they elect to pick and how much pit and how much damage they want to put onto that soft compound tyre come the end of the race. So they'll be on equal tyre wear come the end of the Grand Prix, you would think, compared to the medium runners, because of course the softs to get you to grade quite quickly. So for Dimas, I'm expecting him in around about lap 16, 17. That's really where I see him. He's got no threat behind, so we don't have to worry about boxing and trying to undercut the medium runners, or just trying to overcut. He's in a world of his own on his own strategy, so it's mainly just him now focusing on all the medium runners behind us. Jay Kennedy able to get past Gottschalk. What's happened to there? Gottschalk runs wide. Kennedy now on the outside. He's all over the grass and he manages to get a car stop, but a big slide there for Jay Kennedy. And Gottschalk trying to hold it around the outside. Another big slide for him as he goes off the road, as Kennedy somehow gains the position there, but Gottschalk was all over the road through Stowe Corner and then also into the Vale chicane as Kennedy moves himself up into a provisional P6, and Ivan Santamaria licking his lips over that one because he's now broken a second from Jay Kennedy behind. Of
course, and I think that they made contact in towards Stowe, and it was either a bit of a glitch of the game or one of them had some damage, because I did see something fling off, but I can't see any visual damage on the car. So I think for now they are safe to continue at in normal conditions, but of course a big shame for those two to temporarily lose the 1 second gap because they just got it back to Ivan Santa Maria now, so they'll get back within that DRS range. We can see further ahead here, Sverdlik, Exafox and Fanzelta. It'll be Sverdlik making 2 moves into one corner, into second goes the ABS driver, and now when do they look to start pitting? No, they all stay out for now, apart from I think that will be Fanzelt. Yes, Xfox makes a pit stop. Now he'll be done on his tyres and will go to a set of the softs to take them to the end of this race. So still, it's Dimas who leads ahead of Jan Sperlik and Florian Fanzelt. Of course, those guys have to pit along with Donovan and Pabst. But then further up, we can see Galanier will be our actual race leader ahead of Grosjean, Schumacher and Jack Humphries.
Yeah, Exapox in quite early for that soft compounded tyres, but probably doesn't want to lose too much time battling the likes of Sverdlik and Van Selter. Where does he come out on the road? Probably behind Liam Bowman is where I see him coming out. Yeah, just behind Liam Bowman, about 2 seconds off the back of the NVR driver. But further up, Sverdlik, is he going to look for another move on Van Selter? No, he is not. He's just going to sit behind Van Selter, and Sverdlik is just going to keep P3 for now. Further back, Grosjean, Galanaya, Schumacher and Humphries all still squabbling over that provisional race lead. They're catching up to Marcel Paps, so if he doesn't come into the pit lane shortly, that traffic could maybe cause a little bit of action to happen with this leading quartet. So now through Copse Corner and into Maggots and Beckett's. Grosjean still just sitting behind Galanaya for now as Van Selter overtaken by Sverdlik with a nice DRS move there for Jan Sverdlik. Paps really is starting to be hunted down on here by Galanaya. He's actually got a bit of DRS from it, so he's going to be liking that one a lot, because it means he can just conserve his battery and just sit behind him down this straight. Going to hurt his tyres low through Stowe Corner. Dimas, Sverdlik, Van Selter and Donovan into the pit lane. Paps stays out for another lap, so this could maybe cause a little bit of action between that leading quartet. Dimas on the softs, where does he come out in relation to the top four? As you now see, there they go by. Humphries at the back of that train. He'll just come out behind Jay Kennedy and Ivan Santa Maria here, or he's going to slot in between them. No, just behind them, right on the road, slots in front of Gottschalk. And there we go, Dimas down in 8th place. Let's see what he can do. But further up, Galanaya is going to be looking to get past Pabst and put a car in between himself and Grosjean. There we go, to the inside goes Jeremy Galanaya. He is past Marcel Pabst, and that is going to hold up Grosjean now through this whole sector. If Pabst does not get out of the way, which he doesn't. So this is going to really hurt Grosjean in his race against Galanaya. He's going to look to the inside line. This could be risky heading into Copse Corner. Is he going to back out of it? No, they're going to go side by side. Is Grosjean going to pull this one off? Yes, he is. A brilliant move to the inside on slower traffic. Here comes Schumacher into Maggots, then into Beckett's. He's going to pull this one off too. So it's Humphries who has to sit behind Paps a little bit longer. But brilliant moves there from Schumacher and Grosjean, getting past the traffic when they needed to the most, and Galanaya will be looking back in disbelief with the moves that Schumacher and Grosjean have just pulled off.
Of course, and I think those guys there, Grosjean and Schumacher, it was all or nothing that they needed to get past Marcel Paps, as that is what Jack Humphries does now. It puts himself up into P4. But we can see now further back, of course, Dimas now on the back of Jay Kennedy. He'll be looking to get himself up into P6 and then try and charge after the leading pack. The gap between Jay Kennedy and the top 5 is just over 4.5 seconds as Exafox sets the fastest lap there with a 127.247. As we can see, Dimas gaining in now in towards the braking zone, nearly tapping the back of Kennedy. He knows he's quick up on this brand new set of softs, but he just can't make them work just yet. He needs to get past Kennedy before he can try and push forward now, using a bit of battery, using that DRS slipstream to his advantage in towards Brooklands Corner. And not much defence can be offered there by Kennedy, can it? Of course, brand new softs versus older mediums. You know which one's going to win out on that battle.
Yeah, nicely done there from Dimas to get in front of Jay Kennedy late on the brakes, getting the move done quite nicely, and didn't use too much battery either, did Alexander Dimas. So really nicely done there by him. He's now going to try and push on to catch up to that top 4. Of course, Marcel Paps still hasn't boxed just yet. He's still on the tyres he started this race with. He's just going to try to go long, see if a safety car happens, but at the minute looking very unlikely that a safety car will occur. Jay Kennedy not going to get close enough to Dimas, but will Daniel Gottschalk get close enough to Kennedy? No, he's not. He's just too far behind. Didn't use any battery either, and it's just going to sit behind Kennedy once more. Dimas now 4 seconds behind Marcel Paps, who's actually using Jack Humphreys as a little bit of a pulling rope here, is Marcel Paps, because he's just sitting in that DRS there of Humphreys in front, and just putting himself along nicely. So this could be really nice strategy here from Paps while he holds out for a safety car, so he doesn't lose too much time to the cars behind.
Of course, I think that is definitely here what Marcel Paps will be doing. Just wants to find a safety car, wants something to happen to help him get back in towards this race. And until then, he's definitely going to be stuck where there's nothing here that Paps can do. It will take probably 3 laps, and Dimas should be past him and flying off ahead. And of course, then all those behind in that train down to P9, and then it won't be long before Rex and Fox and those guys catch up to make their moves ahead of Paps. But I've got to say, a brilliant job so far here from Liam Bowman, currently in P11, of course, was at the back of the field at the start of the race. Made his pit stop early, and now he's looking to try and fight for the top 10. 2 seconds now away from the top 10 is Liam Bowman, so we'll see what he can do and maybe try and get some points before the end of this Grand Prix. But still, the lead remains as it has been pretty much the whole race. Galanier ahead of Grosjean, ahead of Schumacher, Humphreys, and then, of course, Marcel Paps in P5. But Dimas already looking to gain in. But the issue now that Dimas has is that even though we can, maybe gap Kennedy 6 tenths in the middle sector, once that DRS comes into play, Kennedy brings all that gap back to him.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Dimas because it's the same with the guys up at the front as well. The DRS just helping them massively to extend that gap once again, but Dimas losing, especially just hanging on to the back of them, of the likes of Humphreys, Schumacher, and Co is actually Schumacher to the inside of Grosjean there into Village. That's a really late lunge. There's a little bit of contact made, and Schumacher does not gain the position, but he really forced Grosjean all the way out wide there, and contact was made between the pair, between side pod and front right-hand tyre. And unfortunately for Lucas Besnaya, he is our first retiree of the Grand Prix, not the way that Marcel Paps would have wanted it, because it's a retiree in the pit lane. But Grosjean able to hold on to second place there. But are we starting to see Schumacher become a little bit restless here, starting to go for moves that may not be on, and that could ultimately cost him, not only him, but Grosjean and Humphreys as well in the battle with Jeremy Gallanaya for this race lead, as Dimas is only 2 seconds behind Jack Humphreys here, so he really is starting to close this gap down, as Marcel Paps, for the first time since Humphreys got past him, will not have DRS down the Hangar Straight.
Of course, as Grosjean takes the lead, yes, again, ahead of Glanier. So these two are going to fight it all the way to the end for first and second position. And then, of course, Schumacher knows that he wants to make some moves. He wants to be in second, as that's the best place for having that DRS on the final couple of laps. We can see moves being made at the back there. Donovan ahead of Kiko. We've got Van Zelten there looking to get ahead of Bowman as well for P12 as he makes a launch to the inside. Oh, contact, and that's Bowman round. Gets tagged, I think, by Linus Donovan as they went in towards the final couple of corners. And unfortunately, Liam Bowman back to where he started at the back of the field and will continue on in 18th position.
Yeah, horrid day in the office for Liam Bowman here this evening, as here comes Dimas on Paps. He's going to have some DRS down this Wellington straight. I think Paps is actually going to try hold on to this one, but to the inside goes Alexander Dimas, and there we go, up into 5th place. Now, his next objective, catch up to this top 4. It's 2 seconds behind now. You see that gap through this middle sector just close and close. He'll eat into it. But look who else he's bringing. He's bringing a trio of cars as well. He's got Kennedy, Gottschalk, and Ivan Santamaria, who's just dropped off slightly from Gottschalk. So he's got to bring a duo at the moment of Kennedy and Gottschalk, as Dimas really is starting to apply some pressure on that leading quartet. But he's got to make sure he gets to the back of that queue before his soft tyres hit the cliff, or all of this hard work will be for nothing, as Gallanaya gets past Grosjean once again, and here comes Schumacher on Grosjean too. He's going to look to the inside. It was a late lunge to the inside from Schumacher. Grosjean thought he had it defended. He had to look to the outside. Now he's going to look to the outside again. Through the Vale chicane with the inside for the second part. Schumacher just about leaves him enough room, Brilliant racing between the pair through club corner now. Schumacher forced wide with the outside for turn 1. That's surely where Grosjean is going to get by, but all this is helping Galanaya break away as he has broke a second, perhaps for a 3-second time penalty. Schumacher sits behind Grosjean into Village, but Grosjean, no DRS, down the Wellington Straight, and all that battling has brought Alexander Dimas into DRS contention. So for Grosjean, he'll have no DRS, Schumacher will, but he won't be close enough to make a move. Neither will Dimas on Humphreys, but perhaps once Kennedy and Gottschalk get by him as well, we're going to see 7 cars battling it out for the lead, because the way the top 5 are congestion into one another, we're going to see more and more drivers close up, but Galanaya just doesn't break that DRS gap at the minute over no Grosjean.
Yep, very close indeed between those two. Very touch and go between that 1 second gap. But I'm keeping an eye here on the back of Alexander Dimas. He was 9 tenths back heading into turn 1. He's now within a couple of tenths, a couple of car lengths to Jack Humphreys as they head their way now down the back straight down towards Stone. It looks like for a second Jack Humphreys lifted off a little bit there, and he did turn his DRS off in towards the corner. On the exit of the Chapel. So it looks like he was a bit of a plan there to let Alexander Dimas through. Up into 4th place now for the SRC driver in the McLaren livery. We'll see what he can do now. Can he try and fight for the lead of the race? Because still, Grosjean not within a second of the leader, so he can't find that DRS. He's going to have to keep trying even more and more. But I've got to say, it's only himself and Schumacher to blame, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's unfortunate there that he just defended too aggressively against Schumacher. He should have just let him by. There's still plenty of time in this race for him to make that move once again, and it's dropped them out of DRS. But here comes Schumacher once more. He's surely going to get this one by. Maybe Dimas as well, but no. Here comes he goes to the outside. Look at the braking distance he can have over Grosjean. He's to the inside for Luffield. This will be beautiful from Alexander Dimas. A lunge to the outside. The difference between tyre life just showing there how much later Dimas could break. Grosjean going to the outside through Copse. That was really risky. Being forced onto the curb. Could have been a spin there for Grosjean if he turned in on the grass. Luckily for him, his car's still in one piece. But if Schumacher knows what's best for him here, he would allow Alexander Dimas by once he gets probably down the Wellington Straight, because Dimas just has an upper hand at the moment over Galanaya and just has all that pace in the tank on those soft compound tyres, can brake later, get on the throttle earlier, and just make those inroads, and Schumacher should be able to hang within DRS of Alexander Dimas. Thomas Lang gets past Dustin Vincent there. That's over 15th place in this race, as Thomas Lang actually has a 3-second time penalty as well to boot, so he'll drop behind Dustin come the end of the Grand Prix. But we've got 4 laps to go here, Nathan, and it's still Jeremy Galanaya with a 1.4 second lead. But don't be surprised if Alexander Dimas gets past Schumacher heading into Brooklands.
Of course, and I think here now, obviously, with that gap being so short, it should be quite an easy move here for Dimas to take second in the race. And then you start to question, can he gain that time he needs on the back of Jeremy to try and get within a second of that DRS? As they head through Brooklands corner, the gap's 1.6, 1.7 seconds. It's going to be very hard here for Dimas to gain in within a second, but we'll see what he can do, of course. Now, using those soft tyres, they will start to die off now. I think they're probably peak. They've probably just gone past their peak stage and now looking to start to get a bit more worn and lose that big advantage. So I think here, obviously, Dimas would have been probably fighting for the win if Schumacher and Grosjean wasn't fighting so hard, because they'd easily be within a second of the leader and easily within that DRS. So we'll see what can Dimas do. The gap's 1.3. But down the pitch straight, it's not going to be enough to make him, of course, get back within a second. It's still 1.3 as a head round. So he's got a chance here, down in towards the chicane, to get within a second here, Jeremy.
Yeah, this is really where he needs a good exit out of this Vale chicane for Alexander Dimas. And he's got exactly that. Look at the time he's found through Vale. 3 attempts, nearly 4 attempts over Jeremy Galanaya, and he's going to be within DRS range. 6 cars will be battling for the lead here on to these final 3 laps of the Grand Prix. And for Alexander Dimas, on those soft compound tyres, he puts himself with brilliant contention of the first race win of the season. Galanaya thought he might have done it by breaking away from that train with Schumacher and Grosjean battling so fiercely on lap 22 of the Grand Prix. But Alexander Dimas is now all over the back of him once more. Pressure is going to be applied for the next 2.5 laps here in Silverstone. And for Dimas, he just needs to sit behind for now. He's got a 7/10 gap for Schumacher. That should be fine for now to hold off from him. So he can just focus on Galanaya in front. We'll see what these next 2.25 laps bring. But here we are then with Dimas heading through Maggots and Beckett's. DRS open for Dimas as they head down the hangar straight. It'll probably be no move made.
What the?
Whoa!
Whoa!
Humphreys off. Whoa! What happened there to Humphreys? I think he's just run a little bit wide, got on the grass on exit of the corner, and he slid all the way off the road. Luckily, he's able to bring it back on the road. I don't know if he's picked up any damage, and he's actually had some contact there with Jay Kennedy into Vale. So that's really ruined their races because they have now dropped DRS from no Grosjean. Into the pit lane comes Papist. He's left it as long as possible. Unfortunately for him, it was not a safety car to be. Kennedy able to get past Humphreys there. I don't think Humphreys has got any damage, but Alexander Dimas all over the back of Jeremy Galanaya here, Nathan. Are we going to see a move for the race lead?
I think we might do as they head their way now down towards Brooklands corner. The gap's 2.5 of a second. Dimas is gaining in, but no. I think, yeah, he just put himself onto no battery, I think, there in that straight. He didn't want to make a move just yet. He wants to make it into some of the key braking zones rather than the braking zone in towards Brooklands corner at turn number 7. So, pretty much full battery here for Dimas. Say exact same for Jeremy, both on over 90% of battery, so they can dump it now on the final lap. So they head round to Cops Corner once again, of course, on the penultimate lap of the race. And we'll see here as well, further back, Grosjean looking to make a move on Schumacher. But of course, over this lap now, Schumacher's managed to claw back a little bit closer to the top two as they now head their way through out of the Chapel Curve down towards Stowe Corner. And yes, again, Grosjean gaining in quickly here on the back of Schumacher, so we could see multiple moves being made as they head in towards Stowe Corner. Dimas stays behind, Schumacher stays behind, and so does Grosjean. No moves being made there. Now they head down towards the club chicane. Can any moves be made? Oh, and Grosjean a bit slidey on the rear, taps the back of Schumacher, but still keeps it nice and tidy in P4. But now, Max, we're going to the final lap of the race, and look at Dimas, they're all over the back of Jeremy. Just knows he can fight for the lead, but doesn't want it yet because he wants to get that DRS.
Yeah, we'll see. When does he make the move? Is it going to be into Stowe as a last gasp overtaking opportunity, or will it be down the Wellington Straight and into Brooklands? Here we are then, out of the loop, a crucial traction zone there. DRS will be open. He's going to use his battery. Here comes Dimas to the inside of Jeremy Galanaya. Will Schumacher also get past Galanaya here? Yes, he will. Look to the inside line into Brooklands. It'll be the outside for Luffield. Galanaya going to hold it on the inside low. Here comes Galanaya to try and hold on to second place at the very least. He will be able to do it, you would think, on the exit. He's got the battery advantage, but look at the gap that's given Dimas. He's now half a second clear as we now head through Cops Corner. It'll be all about the exit from Chapel here for Galanaya. He'll need an absolutely heroic run out of Maggots Beckett's, and then finally Chapel. Here we are then with Jeremy Galanaya. He's run a bit wide. Dimas with a big slide though. That's going to allow Galanaya to get the DRS. He's now in the slipstream. He's going to pull to the outside line, and Dimas, who thought he's done last lap heroics on the alternate strategy, gets overtaken by Galanaya. Humphreys passed by Jack Kennedy there. Jack Humphreys passed Jay Kennedy, but Jeremy Galanaya, who thought he might have just lost a lead that he's dominated so much in the dying embers, comes across the line to win here in Silverstone. Galanaya taking pole position, takes the race lead. A brilliant performance, but for Dimas it is heartbreak on the alternate strategy. He went too soon, and Galanaya was able to get him back into Stowe. What a final lap that was, and a brilliantly deserved win there for Jeremy Galanaya.
Of course, an absolutely brilliant last lap battle there between the top four. I've got to say, A brilliant job from Linus Donovan, was 2 seconds back from the field, then in 19th position after lap 1, gets himself in the top 10, gets himself a nice point to add to his tally in this championship. But Jeremy, of course, having the fastest lap in quali, and of course taking the race win here, puts him, I believe, on 17 points here heading into the first round, of course pending steward enquiries. But a brilliant way to start off Jeremy's season. Florian Fanzelter gets the driver of the day from the game, but I've got to say, an absolutely enthralling battle between the top four. And of course, Max, you've got a whole season of this. This is going to be absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is, and the battle between the likes of the top 4, maybe even the top 6, if Humphreys didn't have that slide throughout the rest of this season, oh, it could be absolutely electric. So stick around here for F4, because this season is certainly going to be one to look out for. But Galanaya, what a win for him. The Frenchman takes P1 in the first round of the season and takes a nice championship lead to boot as well. Of course, getting that point for pole, and then 16 points for the race victory. But your race results for this evening at Silverstone is Galanaya, who takes the victory, 2 tenths clear of Alexander Dimas. Sven Schumacher in third, from Grosjean in fourth, Humphreys fifth, Kennedy in sixth. Exafox managed to finish seventh. He managed to get past Gottschalk in the dying embers there as well. Ivan Santamaria finishes ninth, Donovan 10th, Van Selter in 11th, and then Jans Verdelik down in 12th. Unfortunately there for Jan, actually started 18th, so he managed to make his way through the field quite nicely. Kiko in 13th, Saros in 14th, Thomas Lang 15th. Then it's Liam Bowman, who had a wretched day in the office, started 19th, finishes 16th. Then you had Marcel Papist, who had that wheel issue earlier on in 17th, Dustin Vincent in 18th, and then our only retirement from the Grand Prix, Lucas Besnaya, who finishes in 19th place.
Of course. And we're going to have an interviews today, Max. Do you want to have an interview possibly with a couple of drivers if they want?
I would hope we could have some interviews, especially with Dimas and Galanaya, because that racing there at the end was absolutely electric. So yes, Schumacher wants an interview. That's one thing for certain.
We'll drag him in once he pops himself into the waiting room. And I've noticed I limited it now, so only 3 people can sit in the waiting room. So we've got to hope that there's not more than 3.
Yeah, we kind of got to hope that Tier 2's not finished yet.
I think it finished just before us. I think it finished about 10 minutes ago because we started quite late.
Oh, yes.
There he is.
There we go. Schumacher's in waiting room.
We'll drag him up and we'll speak to Schumacher while we wait to hear from Jeremy and Alexander. So, Sven, can you hear us? Welcome in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, brilliant race. 3rd place to start off the season. Definitely a good way to start. Obviously, going through and towards this F1 24 game. Obviously, I don't really know what people's pace were like before this. I just know that obviously some people have been a little bit different on this game compared to last. Did you expect to get place in F4 this season or not?
Well, I can't comment a lot about that because I just messaged Connor and he said there was an open spot in F4 reserve driver, so that's like the main story. I really didn't have time to do the sign-ups, but yeah, obviously they saw my pace last year, so and as proven now, this is also a good spot. So yeah, I'm quite happy to be here and to drive against these guys.
Of course, and obviously, it's a completely different game, different handling model, obviously different different battery usage. Was it a lot harder to manage a race in this game than it was on the last game?
Yes and no. The ERS usage has become easier, from my opinion. You can use much and it will go empty like really quick. But apart from that, it will also recharge very quickly. So that's much easier. But tire wear has been a struggle, not for me, but for other people. Apart from that, handling is not my favorite, to say the least. But yeah, it is what it is. It's made the racing closer. I can say that.
Yep, definitely. Well, congratulations on 3rd. That is all from me. Anything from you, Max?
2 questions probably here, Schumacher. First of all, heading on to those final few laps, I think it was around about lap 23 or 22. Your battle with Grosjean, were you expecting him to defend so aggressively, knowing that Gallinai could easily break away?
No, I didn't actually. I thought he was just gonna let me pass and we could work together to, yeah, obviously get the leader. But yeah, he was in P2, I was in P3. The main spot to be on the last lap is P2. So from his side, it's all fair to battle. Obviously, he wants to be in that P2 spot to win the race eventually. But yeah, it didn't quite work out. Afterwards, I used Alexander, who was on quite fresh softs, to get back to the leader. But yeah, I couldn't pass him eventually. But yeah, happens.
Yeah,
Of
unfortunate
course.
there from that battle. And then final question. I know you're a reserve, but if you're back next week in Miami, do you reckon you could be strong back around there, or is it a track that you don't really particularly like?
Next week I'm working, so I won't be
Oh,
able to attend Miami.
okay. Well, thank you anyways, Schumacher. Congratulations on the third place and a decent showing to show that you could well deserve a full-time role if one picks up later on this season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Right, so we'll have a chat to Alexander. I don't think we'll have a word from Jeremy, so we'll speak to our second place man. Alexander, can you hear us, mate?
Yes.
Yes, welcome in. So, brilliant race, of course, second to start off the season. And, well, it was going to be a win, wasn't it? Until you made a slight mistake coming out of Chapel down that back straight. So, do you reckon you would have definitely held it off if you didn't have that big slide coming out of Chapel?
I didn't know the exact gap, but there was a chance, of course. But my tires really fell off the last couple of laps. My softs were really good at the beginning. Towards the end, they were, of course, getting slightly worse, but they were still good, in my opinion. And then the last lap, it all went away suddenly, and you could also see my mistake there. Which really cost me the win, I think. So I'm not really happy about myself. I could have won here, but I think I will try and win next week. I think I had the pace. I showed it also. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, I think you did a very good job, especially in the race. Of course, looking for the win. Obviously, next week we're off to, is it Miami, Max?
Yes,
Yeah.
Miami.
Do you reckon you can try and fight for the win there again?
I don't know really. I haven't driven Miami. I haven't driven on this game
Yeah.
because I don't really like it,
Mhm.
to be honest. Racing is much better though, and the ERS, I like that. That's the only thing I like really about the game, the ERS. You can change it because it really helped me. But I don't know. We will see next week. Still need to look with the setup with the team
Yeah.
about Miami, of course. So I don't know really.
Of
But I
course.
will try.
Well, carry on, Max. Or did you not say anything?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you
Don't know
spoke.
if you-
Anyway, that was all from
No.
me. So well done, Alexander. And off to you, Max.
Yeah, only one question from myself, Alexander. That final lap, were you sort of forced into making that move down into Brooklands by Schumacher, or was that entirely strategical and you thought the softs would hold up for the rest of the lap?
I thought it would hold up, but also I saw Schumacher. I thought he would make a move on me, so I thought it would go on the inside of P1 and then like get back into P2, but that wasn't really happening. And yeah, I thought it would also hold up because after that two corners, I had 5 10, 6 10 lead. And then if I just didn't make the mistake, I think could have ended up in P1. So yeah, it was a bit messy there in my head, and yeah, not really the best decision I've made.
Well done on second place. Brilliant start to the championship for yourself, and hopefully Miami can maybe put you on that top step of the podium.
I really hope so.
So yeah, thank you, Alexander, for joining us. And I think that might be with interviews because unfortunately we don't have Jeremy in the waiting room. So I think that might be it. We'll move ourselves back to the camera screen quickly once I can get Max full screen. There we are. And then we'll put ourselves back onto the camera of this F4 season. Of course, I won't be here next week. Myth will be back, I presume, to continue on for the rest of the season. But I was going to say we'll come look for the calendar, but I haven't got I don't think I've got the graph unless
Would you
this
like?
is. I found it. There we are.
Oi.
I'll put it under standings by accident. There we are. I've got the calendar. So, Max, obviously you're going to be here for every single round of the season. I'm not. So, what race would you say you're looking more forward to?
With the way the racing is going, I'm expecting Austria to be
Hmm.
quite eventful with the slipstream. I'm also looking forward to the likes of Jeddah, of course, always emphatic racing, the fastest street circuit on the calendar. That's always going to provide brilliant racing as well. Belgium, that's going to be a good one from what we've seen from the social races. That can certainly spice up near the end of the Grand Prix. I'm really just the last three tracks of the season as well. Monza, Qatar, Brazil. Those could be absolute classics to end off the season, and especially with Brazil being the final race of the season, where it should be in real life as well. But yeah, we're going to have brilliant racing all throughout the season, and I really don't think with the way the game is at the moment, we're going to have a dull race at all unless someone miraculously is able to break away from the train.
Yeah, definitely. I think as both drivers have said in the interview rooms, the racing definitely has become a lot closer, and I think that is safe to say. You did see a lot of drivers getting back in quickly to those in DRS trains. But of course, we've got a whole season left to go. We've got lots of many different tracks to navigate our way through. Of course, I'm looking forward to more of the tracks. Obviously, we haven't got them on here, but like tracks like Monaco and stuff like that, where it's very thin, you can't really make moves. I'm interested to see what type of strategies work at those type of street circuits. And I think the only track really that I could fit into that sort of category will be Jeddah, which is of course round 7. Still a long way to go to that. That I think is around the end of August. Yeah, August 22nd to the 29th. So somewhere around there is when we race at Jeddah. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be back over F2, 3 or F4 in some of the races as the season gets on. But I've got to say, Max, it was a pleasure to be alongside you for today. It was a brilliant race. 7, and I expect there'll be a lot more strong action, of course, for the championship, which is definitely very, very heated up. Because I've got to say, there's many drivers I think on this grid which probably haven't been able to show what they can do today, wasn't there?
No, I mean I don't think the F1 World Cars help them too much, especially for some of the drivers, because the handling is a bit different, so setups don't work as much. But yeah, thank you for being alongside me, Nathan, and stepping in over Myth not being here. Highly appreciated. And yeah, we should be in for an absolutely fantastic season. And I hope you all stick with us because A, the support will be highly appreciated, and B, we're going to have an absolute ball of the season. And probably the racing on this game will be the best we've seen so far in the F1 games in the past few years.
Definitely. So, well, that's all from us here tonight in the F4 commentary box, guys. So make sure to check out for the PS season, of course, back here next week, and then E-Series qualifying is next week. So make sure to come and check out that as well over on the PSGL YouTube channel. So thank you all once again for watching, and we'll see you next time for some more racing. Goodbye.